I read an athletic article today by Jeremy Rutherford titled, Perron shows why hockey players are human too. Now before I get into the article, I want to talk a little bit about how stoicism is such a huge part about hockey culture. It made me think back to Don Cherry doing the coach's corner. Cherry always an advocate for playing the game the right way, where you don't showboat and taunt the other team, and if you do, there are rules. You could argue that Don Cherry's outfit spoke just as loudly as his beliefs. Then you have the general manager of the Red Wings who never says much at all. Look around the league, not just from the players. You have coaches like John Tortorella who are straight to the point, outspoken, oftentimes a little bit rude. Hockey has started to change. Players' personalities are starting to leak through the surface. Podcasts like Spit and Chicklets give them a voice where they can go on and speak honestly and freely without judgment. You could make the argument that Paul Bissonnette is filling the void of Don Cherry, the voice of a generation. In this article, you see the side of a hockey player that got traded more times than he would have cared to be. He thought he would be spending his days in St. Louis with his wife. But as the French are in a good way.
Ho ho ho! Welcome to French Canada! We have everything a heart could desire.
Perron got emotional in this article about the events that led him to Detroit. Not all hockey players have the $1 million legs and 2-cent brains.
I got the $1 million legs, 2-cent brains out there, ha!
There's something under that surface that puts the puck in the net and passes the biscuit softly onto the tape of their counterparts. What you learn in this article is that Perron, like so many other players around the league, had to deal this summer with the business side of hockey operations. That's a fact of life, whether we like to admit it or not. Hockey players are similar to currency. They are a store of value that can be used in exchange for goods and services. Now, you might be wondering, what is value? In 2021, the third of Perron's 4-year, $16 million contract with the Blues, he had 19 goals and a team-high 39 assists, and his point-per-game pace of 58 points in 56 games also led the club. In the final year of his deal, Perron netted 20 goals and 57 points in 67 games and topped all Blue scorers with 9 goals and 13 points in the postseason. Prior to the start of the 21-22 season, a team source said that Perron was offered a 2-year, $8 million contract that was declined. Another source familiar with the negotiations said it was a 1-year, $4 million offer, and after a successful season, he was looking for a longer contract. On discussing the Leddy signing, he reveals a bit of his personality and his character. That's their perspective, he said. That's fine that it's their perspective. I just don't buy that perspective. I mean, salary cap was a reason that was brought up for sure the whole time. I could see when we traded for Nick Leddy how well he fit on the team. We had so many forwards that scored 20 goals last year, and you need a balance. But I don't think it was about me or Leddy. I just think at the end of the day, if you want to sign someone, you do. After their performance, the loyalty, winning the Stanley Cup, leaving, coming back, all that combined, I just felt like if you wanted someone, you make it happen. You find a way. There's no excuses there for me. That's what is really hurting me for sure. I'm not saying it's going to be the right or wrong decision from the team perspective, but I just kind of felt like I commanded and earned that a little bit. You look at Nick Leddy, who the Blues signed instead of Perron, to a 4-year, $4 million AAV contract. Perron, like so many others in sports, has been on a journey to multiple Stanley Cup finals, to lifting the Stanley Cup over his head, to raising a family of 2, immigrating from one country to another.
Power-hungry Americans, I'll fix you.
Making friends along the way, and putting up with the difficult side of hockey that is media and business. Perron in this article, it made me look forward to seeing him come October. His style of play isn't necessarily flash and dash, and if you put him in a spot where he can use his shot, maybe that will make the Blues general manager think twice about the decision not to re-sign him. So let's see the human side of David Perron. Like many stories, the article begins with the curiosity of a child. He does some skill work and cardio on his own, and then enjoys time with his 2 children. His kids asked him a question, he revealed. Why do you still have the Blues practice jersey on? Not to get over philosophical, but sometimes we just wear the clothes that we are given without too much thought into it for comfortability and practical purposes. But other times what we wear is a reflection of who we are inside. Take me, for instance. I wear athletic clothes because they're comfy. And I'm wearing this Red Wings shirt today because I haven't worn it in a while, and it was staring at me, and I put it on. In this situation, it was because of practicality. Every summer, the staff packs a blue jersey for the player in the offseason, and the expectation for Perron was that he would return after free agency. He responded to his children, "Well, I don't have any other gear yet." In fact, the only gear that Perron had was a pair of socks and a hat that he had purchased on a recent trip to Michigan. They were looking for a place to live and a school for their children to attend. This is short, but there's a lot in this sentence. We're used to the Cardinals and Busch Stadium, and then you see the Detroit Tigers gear. It's kind of surreal. This is a person that has played in Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Las Vegas, and now Detroit. To say that it's surreal to see a apparel from a team that's not St. Louis shows how much he cared about playing for them. You see a lot of surprise in this article from a player who has moved from team to team. That's not something I thought I would ever do. Starting my career against Detroit, playing them 8 times a year. That's going to be a lot different for me to change to red jerseys. But there is excitement between quotes and a return to normalcy as Perron received the box filled with Red Wings jerseys. He recounts, "I see the delivery guy coming. He's got the package with the Red Wings tape around the box, and I was laughing. Oh, this is probably the jerseys I asked for last week." Of course, this article didn't come out immediately. Eventually, he would call Rutherford, and the author beautifully puts it, "For all practical purposes, the dust had settled, but there are still some particles." Perron said he was in shock. How could he not be with the successful campaign he had had with the St. Louis Blues? "I just felt like that was going to be an easy extension to get done over this summer. I wasn't going to be crazy. I just wanted something where I felt respected. I see my perspective. I don't see necessarily everything, but I truly believe in life. When you want to make something happen, you do. I'm not trying to prove a point. That's just life. If you want to get it done, you get it done." Perron says this over and over again. If you truly want something, you make it happen. Perron acknowledges his age, and he doesn't blame the team for looking at other guys, younger guys. "I signed for 2 years, and hopefully I can help this team into the next part of their rebuild, play meaningful games, and make the playoffs. I did it in Vegas, so I have confidence I can help as a leader and have a team give me confidence that if it works out, not only stat-wise, but everything, they will be open to keeping me." As a father, here is what Perron had to say. "It wasn't easy," Perron said. "We brought it up to them and talked around the table. It's tough because they love St. Louis, too." Perron loved the city that didn't want to resign him, for whatever reason. They have friends. They have the school that they love and their hockey situation. They were crying, and that got to me and Vanessa. Sometimes children are better able to reflect what we're thinking inside, but don't have the capacity to show it. Some of the sadder parts of the article. "I just felt like I had built something so special. I was performing, and I felt like I had the support of the city behind me. It takes years to do that, and I was in a spot where I had that, and I didn't want to lose that. I don't know if I'll ever be able to feel that way anywhere else, and that's what's hurtful for me."
There's no Canada like French Canada. It's the best Canada in the land.
When that's taken away from you, it's hard. At this point in the article, if you don't see Perron as a person above a hockey player, I don't know what article you're reading. And as you can see, this split affected more than just Perron leaving St. Louis to play for the Red Wings. I could have seen myself living in St. Louis, and I just don't know if it can happen after this. It can, but things will change in the next 2 years. I always feel like I'm going to be a St. Louis Blue in my heart and my head. There was some frustration and some anger with the whole situation, but I think when it comes down to it, I'm going to be proud of what I did in St. Louis. I had so many phone calls and text messages from people around the city and the organization, and pictures from 15 years ago or 4 months ago from fans. It's not an easy business. I'm well aware of that. I guess everyone gets to this point. I just wish it would have been a few years down the road.
I think you'd understand. You understand.